trigger warning for anyone under 30. You'd make a phone call.
But I got triggered last night.
Well, hey, sorry, folks. If you want to get triggered, get triggered.
I think sometimes what happens is people hear trigger words and it just creates reaction, Matt,
stop
with
thinking.
anger.
Let's put a trigger warning on trigger warnings.
Welcome to 31 Triggers. I am Philip Galinsky. I am, so you know what you're getting into, a writer. I have books, all right? 31 Triggers is a book series for kids and adults. I have an award-winning podcast about triggers. I have 4 older brothers. That's a trigger. I have a lot of stuff going on, and tonight I want to share some of that with you. Also, if you experience some kind of triggers in your own life, it's an open forum. Obviously, this is the triggers of contents, but as we all know, like Baskin-Robbins has 31 flavors. So like I said, I'm the youngest of 5 boys, no sisters. A mother and father that were glorious in raising us, but also helped me with our beginning triggers, which number 1 is my condolences, which triggered me because I knew my mom's 92 and I knew she was sick, and I knew the ambulance came to the condo to get her. She got better, she got home. Buddy of mine, I grew up in Weathersfield, Connecticut, texts me my condolences. I'm like, what? So I call my mother right away. I'm like, hello? She's like, hello? I'm like, you're alive! She's like, yeah. I said, people think you're dead. Why do they think you're dead? She goes, oh, this condo. And I go, what? Well, when the emergency guys got me, they put me in the gurney, I put the sheet over my head because I didn't want anybody to see me. I said, you're kidding me. So she's 92. She's been with my dad. It's the only person she's been with, right? That we know of. But there was no internet back then, so back off. It's my mother. So I call her every week, and this time I call her because she just had a physical exam, so that was triggering to her, you know, when you get old. So I said, how did it go? And she was very quiet. It's okay. I said, what's wrong? Is it like cancer? No! I'm like, okay, well, what is it? Well, the doctor asked me a question, and I said, that's what they do, Mom. Well, he asked me if I was sexually active. And I said, no, I usually just lay there. Do you think he's a pervert? I said, no. I said, it's probably the greatest line he's ever heard in his life. So I told my mom.
Did you really say that?
Yes! Yes! These are all true. Because if I feel like I'm in a very lovely theater crowd. Am I in a theater crowd? So when I first moved to New York, the word that everybody was my friends especially were like, dude, what is auditioning or auditions like? Is it triggering? Like, is it, because it must be, you know, you face rejection, your doors open, doors closed, things like that. I said, well, my second audition ever, I think it kind of got me to a place where I understand myself. And he was like, what are you talking about? I said, well, manager called me, said they want you to come down and do that funny monologue about how you're trying to get you and your girlfriend to start an OnlyFans together, you know, porno thing. And I was like, okay, you sure? He's like, yeah, it's dark, it's funny, it's weird, it'll be funny, they'll love it. So I go to the audition, and if people don't know, there's something called like a cattle call. It felt like a cattle call, which is like a lot of people, right? So I'm looking I'm in the back, and I'm looking, and the camera's here, and the people are auditioning right there, right? And I was like, oh, okay. So I'm watching, and this guy does this amazing monologue about the birth of his kid, his wife, just the magic of having a child, and then how he starts crying because he loses it all to drugs and alcohol. And it is like heavy. People are like clapping, people are like wiping their eyes. And I'm like, what? A monologue about OnlyFans? Like, what is going on here, right? So I go, all right, because actors will watch actors. So I wait for this next guy to go, because I'm like, all right, let me just see. Hopefully he does something different. And he talks about being a stockbroker, hedge fund, all this money he had, cars, women, midgets, coke, all this stuff, right? And then he starts crying a little bit how he lost it to drugs and alcohol, right? So now I'm watching it, and I'm just like, he's just the single guy version of this, right? And I'm looking at the other actors, and I'm elbowing him, like, watch, he's gonna start crying. And he did, like, I could see, like, every beat that he was doing. It was, like, pathetic. And this woman grabs my arm, she goes, what are you doing? And I said, I'm here for the audition. She goes, you're at an AA meeting. The audition's on the 2nd floor. I was heckling alcoholics at an AA meeting on my 2nd audition in New York. Looking at other alcoholics going, wow, he's gonna cry now. Now, we're going to combine whatever family trauma I had with your family trauma, plus new phrases that you may not be aware of. Have you heard of this one called spot burning? You guys don't know it, right? Okay, good. Spot burning, okay? A friend of mine is I teach him voiceover, podcasting, and acting, and as a barter, he took me out fishing with him and his guide, Mike. And so I had a little fun at the beginning here.
All right, what's going on, guys? So we back out here with Captain Mike, and I'm here with a special guest today, Philip.
Hey, hi, everybody.
So this is my acting coach. For those of you that don't know, I'm also an actor. So this guy, he's been helping me out with my career.
And we're gonna act like we caught a lot of fish today.
He goes, dude, this is a great spot. And the last time we were here, we caught 40. And I was like, cool. He goes, but you can't tell anybody. Because that's, if you do something on your phone, they're gonna find the location and they burn the spot. And that's spot burning for all your fishermen. You don't want to tell people where you're going, right? And I go, it triggers me to another level. I go, well, wait a minute, okay? There's this phrase that I know called catch and release. He's like, yeah. I said, that's what we're gonna do, right? He's like, yeah, if they're not big enough, you just put it back. And if you don't want to take it, you just put it back. So I said, we're not catching 40 fish today. We're catching the same fish 40 times. Oh, no. I said it's 600 years. Fish have not figured out bait and a hook. That's their problem. Oh, you're wrong. So we're out on the water, and I'm like, dude, what's with Mike? Mike's supposed to be giving me some love. This is after we started catching some fish. And Mike's driving the boat, and he's all sad. And I go, what's with Mike? Like, you told me he's fun. Oh, he just broke up with his girlfriend. Get out of the way. I know exactly what to say to this guy, especially this guy. So he's driving the boat, and I put my arm around him, and I go, Mike, you of all people should know, there's plenty of fish in the sea. And then we had a great time, right? So I tell my nephew about our fishing trip, and he goes, wow, let's go fishing. So we go fishing, we don't catch anything, we catch one. And it goes off, we're going to take that picture, and it flips off the dock, and he dives down and grab it. And he comes back up, and he's got the hook in his nose, right? And we're like, oh no. And in typical Galinsky fashion, we don't go to the hospital right away. We move people, get out of the light, we gotta post picture of this on the gram, everything like that. Mothers are like, get out of the hospital! We're like, get out of the light, all right? So we start shooting it, we're having a great time, and of course there's that old guy on the dock, right? And he walks by, my nephew's like, and he's like, I've seen a hook in the back, I've seen a hook in the ear, never one in the nose. And he's like, this is awesome, Uncle Phil! Right? So you guys see the picture, that's why this is coming up. Now you look very clearly. Do you see it? Oh. Do you see how happy he is? So it's there, right? He's totally ecstatic. He goes, what's gonna happen? I said, well, your dad's gonna have to drive you to the hospital. They're gonna probably take a needle and numb your nose and yank out the hook. Now he starts bawling. He's like, they're gonna put a needle in my nose. I said, you already have a hook in it! Earlier on the list, when I was talking to people at the pre-show, a couple of things had startled you. Like one of them was it keep refrigerated? You want to know why that's triggering?
Yeah.
I'll tell you
why it's triggering.
Well, it's triggering.
Why is it triggering?
To me,
Yeah.
because first of all, don't tell me what to do. That's number one. Secondly, when it's on Vita Coco and the coconut waters, hey, the last time I checked, the coconut is in the sun on the beach. I don't see anybody wrapping that thing in the refrigerator. Keep refrigerated. See? Am I right? Or is yours different than that?
Mine's probably better, but you
Go
know.
ahead.
whatever, man.
What is it? What is it? Tell us. Share with the group.
It's seriously triggering.
Why?
Okay, when you get medicine from the pharmacy, do you ever expect that you're going to get something from the pharmacy and have to put it in the refrigerator? Of course not.
Never.
You get your medicine, you go home, you put it on the counter, you give it to your kid who's sick. My kid was sick, the pharmacist didn't tell me that it had to be kept refrigerated. It went bad. I couldn't give it to my child. I had to go back to the pharmacy crying.
Listen, I was a kid once too. I had a pre-existing condition, okay?
That's on the list?
That's on the list,
Okay.
pre-existing condition. But it goes beyond a lot of things. Like, as I told you before, I was a superior athlete, right? Well, still am, but I blew out my knee playing handball in New York City. And so the doctor says, we're gonna have to give you an ACL repair. Do you have any pre-existing conditions? And I was like, oh boy, going back to childhood. And I said, yeah, I used to wet the bed, like bad. And he goes, well, that's not really the condition. No, I said, doctor, no, it was bad. Like, my parents bought a metal sheet attached to like a car battery. And the doctors had told him, and it's a real thing, you can look it up, it's called a wheeler. And the doctor said that I was a very heavy sleeper. And so what this thing did is when I pee, it shocks me until my brain and my bladder gets synced up. But I didn't sleep for 3 damn days because I was petrified of this thing. That's how I got cured, or at least I thought I got cured, right? So I get to the surgery, and you know, he's talking about, I said, we could do a local. So like I was like laying there, you know, and I believe a local is like you lay and you're numb from the waist down, right? And there's like a curtain covering me, right? So they're doing, he's talking about sports, and it's like I'm hearing squishy shit, and I'm just like, knock me out. This is too weird, right? So when I wake up, I see fluid everywhere. And I go, oh man, I told you I used to wet the bed. And he goes, oh no, we were laughing. You kept coming in and out of consciousness. You were really funny. And I was like, why? He goes, because you kept asking us if it's gonna be a boy or a girl. And I was like, oh my God, right? So I go, they wheel me into my room, and I see my name. You know, you have your name in the thing when they go back in the room. Philip Galinsky, bed wetter, bed wetter. So everybody knows going down the hallway. I pressed the button for the nurse, and I was furious. I was like, where's the patient confidentiality? Everybody in this hospital knows that I wet the bed. She's like, how? I said, did you see the thing outside? My bed! Bed wetter! She goes, that's bed W, so that's bed near the window. So when they come bring you food, they go. Could you see how someone could misinterpret that? Someone as delicate of a flower as myself? One that really grinds my gears is abbreviations. You guys, it's especially if it's your birthday and you get a text that just is HBD.
Oh, gross.
Like, you can't type it. So I've gotten to the point where my niece did that to me, and I was like, really, HBD? You know, what I do sometimes is I'll send a link to the Dora the Explorer thing because it's a birthday thing. So I take some effort, I copy and paste, I do something! So I got this, and I was just furious. And I said, save as, put it in there, something's gonna happen in your coconut, keep it refrigerated, right? So, like about 3 weeks later, I get a card from her, a beautiful card, and I'm like, wow, did someone tell her that I was that mad? She's mailing me like an apology card, and I was like, wow. So I open it, and it's a save the date. She's getting married. It's like that request, really nice. And I go, gosh. I got on Instagram, took a picture of the card, and then said, so excited, my niece just gave me an STD.
Nice.
I'm a dick.
That's
Sometimes
so
I'm a dick. Sometimes I'm a dick.
That's good.
Everybody started freaking out, and then I said, save the date. Oh, very clever. Cancel culture and 4 words. They're 2 different things, but I'm just letting you know so you know how this is going to end. So, cancel culture, you're aware of cancel culture, right? So, I do podcasts with kids, and I was doing some work in the projects in Chelsea. Yes, there's projects in Chelsea. It's not just a highlight. Yes. So, our group, our teen services team, wins a civic award for the best podcast, because we talk about different subjects and college and career readiness and things like that. So we're at the dinner, and we go up to get the award, and the kids are like, well, we owe it all to Philip, he's really good, he's really funny, he tells great jokes, he's super, and then of course someone in the crowd goes, tell a joke! So this is a crowd of rich people, poor people, everything, every mixed, the melting pot. You know, in my brain I'm like, okay, all right, here. I said, hey, where's the best place to work if you have only one leg? IHOP. Right? Everybody laughs, it's fun. I get off stage. What was that? This is like the CFO. I said, what do you mean? What was that? You nearly alienated a third of the crowd. I was like, there's no one-legged people in the fucking crowd. Like, what are you talking about? And I said, if you had one leg. It wasn't like I picked someone out randomly, right? And she goes, well, we're gonna have a meeting with you, and so Monday morning we have a meeting, and I get let go, right? And the kids are like totally upset. We're gonna do a change.org. I said, look, it's okay. These things happen. It's fine. I'm okay. Go to the Legal Aid Society. Just do that for us, Philip. So I said, fine. I'll talk to a lawyer, see if there's anything that can be done, right? So I go to the lawyer, and I say, hey, I was freelancing with this nonprofit, and I said a bad joke, and I got fired, and I want to know if there's anything you guys can do about it. And she goes, well, what's the joke? It's like bracing for horrible. So I tell her the joke. She goes, that's not bad. I go, it's not. She goes, no, it's not bad at all. I said, okay, I have a follow-up to it. Do you want to hear it? She said, yes. I said, okay. What is the name of the female manager who runs the IHOP who only has one leg? She goes, I don't know. And I said, Eileen. Right? She goes, Peg is a good one too. So she goes, we could fight it, but they're going to have really good lawyers. They're going to drag you through this. You were a consultant. You really didn't work there, so there's not much we can do, right? And I said, you know what? I figured that. I figured I didn't have a leg to stand on. Now, here's my final one for the evening. It's the 4 words, okay? These are the 4 words that every kid hates, but when they're an adult, they love using them. So they hate it when they're a kid. You hated it when you were a kid, but you couldn't wait to use it when you're a parent, okay? Now just follow me with this, okay? So I'm probably like 9 or 10 years old. It's a Saturday. I clean my room, do my homework, come downstairs, say to my mom, clean my room, did my homework, I'm going to Frankie's for a sleepover. She says, no. I say, why? She says, because I said so. Infuriating! Triggering! Right? So I go, all right. I go in the living room because my dad's there. I don't think they're working together. So I go, hey, Dad, can I go to Frankie's for a sleepover? And he's got a 5-word sentence. What did your mother say? And I go, shit! But it still doesn't stop me, right? So I go to my mom. Tommy's mom's letting him go. She says, I'm not Tommy's mother. Right? So then I was like, okay. Then she gets right in my face. This is the best. Right in my face. Philip, do I compare you to other children? No. don't you ever compare me to another mother. And that was it, right? Years later, as I'm putting this triggers thing together, I realized also what she did for me, which was great. She said, because I said so, but she knew about my bedwetting problem and didn't want me to go to be embarrassed, right? And she said to me, this was so sweet, we were talking about it, she said to me, sometimes because I said so means this really, Philip, because I love you. Thank you! Before you leave, do one thing for me. If you're gonna be sexually active, don't just lay there. Thank you!
Special guest at my show tonight, right there. Come down, check it out. Special guest, free Tai Chi with my friend.